Hello, my name is Tim Held, and today we're going to be discussing the dirty laundry from After Later Audio. The dirty laundry could be described as a destructive harmonic generator or a destructive dual wave folder. It's made up of three sections. You can see the press here, fold, and there is a switch for a sub. We'll talk about that in a moment. Notice a line that divides the module in two. On the left side of the line, you have all the parameters for the press. On the right, all the parameters for the fold. There's 7 total CV inputs, 5 of which have attenuators, and you'll notice that the 3 on the left control the press and the 2 on the right control the fold. However, because of some pretty clever signal routing or normalization, you can actually kind of blur this line here, and we'll get into that a little later. So let's just start with the press side here. We're going to bring in a nice clean sine wave from the knit. Now that's not being passed through dirty laundry. This one is here, represented by the blue line. Turn this volume up. Now notice there's some phasing there. I just wanted you to see the clean signal in relation to what's coming out of the dirty laundry. So I'm actually going to turn the volume down on the clean signal. So now we get that low end back a little bit. So we're getting a pretty close just straight, unaffected passing through of the waveform from the knit. But you can hear a little crunch, and that's just the nature of dirty laundry, because after all, it is a destructive harmonics generator. So here on the press side, we have a nice simple wave folder that's controlled by the press knob. Just adds a single fold to the waveform. Where the press side gets really interesting is when you turn on the resonant drive circuit, which we describe as a 2 op amps fighting each other, which is pretty fun to say. So let's just turn that on really quick. As you can see, once it's turned on, it just basically turns it into a square wave with all the parameters down. And then the drive, you can see it's kind of moving the wave around in time. And then the resonant actually adds more harmonics, and then this signal then can be wavefolded. And you can imagine how much fun that is with CV. We're going to get into that in a little bit. Notice there's a high-low switch here. So it basically just moves the dynamic range around. So it doesn't do a whole lot, as you can hear right here. It works better with much higher frequencies. Okay, let's check out the fold side. The fold side is actually based off of the Buchla wave folder, or inspired by the Buchla wave folder. And it's quite a bit different from the press side, as we will see. So let's just turn this up. Once again, passing the sine wave from the knit through. This is being unaffected, basically. But when we turn this fold knob up, really quite lovely wave folding, audibly and visually. What's really fun about this is there's this extra gain here, so it not only pushes the gain, but it adds additional folding. So if we turn this off, we can actually get wave folding with the gain. And what's cool about the fold attenuator, if there's no CV present at the input, it does a little extra folding. So turn this down a little bit because it's going to get crazy. You can get some pretty wild stuff. So as you can see, there is a crossfader here. This is P/S and then fold. The P/S stands for press or sub. Right now it's set into the press side. So if I go all the way over to the left, I can actually get my press wave folding. coming out the fold side. So that's what I was actually doing for the demonstration of the press side. Now I can start to blend in the folding on the fold side as well as the press. And of course, we can add the drive. So, when you have it on input 1 up here, this just basically is a crossfade between the press and the fold. However, with this crossfader, you're actually not just getting the press and the fold as a blend, but you're actually putting some of the press through the fold. So you can see there's a difference there. And that's also very useful for when you're using the subsection. So let's talk about the sub really quick. Basically, what happens with the sub is you get a sub-octave square wave generated off of whatever is plugged into input 1. There is a jumper on the back that you can switch to have it be generated off of input 2, but the factory setting is for 1. So here we have a mixture of the sub-octave square and what's being passed through the fold. But if you notice, there's nothing happening with the fold if you're just on the sub. You might be thinking, well, I want to fold that as well. Well, you can't. Do the press. So again, with all of the crossfaders at noon, we're getting quite a bit of pretty crazy signal flow with a sub-octave square coming out unaffected, but it's also being passed through the press, which is being blended with the knit sine wave. As you can see, it's pretty wild. Alright, so let's have some fun with some CV here. Up until now, I've just fed it a sine wave to, show you how it works, but it's a lot of fun to send other things into it. So I'm going to put a drum loop into Dirty Laundry. I'm also going to split the signal out through a mult and send the drum loop to the gate in of a tilt, which will act as an envelope follower. So here, we'll just turn the volume up on this drum beat. And you can see this this LED here is blinking in time with the drum beat. And then I'm using the end of rise and end of fall output, gate outputs on this tilt to trigger another tilt, and then it's triggering some tilts and a steps off screen here. You can kind of just see here down at the bottom, and an envelope on the Rainier. So I've got in total 7 different envelopes, all being generated somehow off of this drum beat, and I'm going to feed them all into the Dirty Laundry. So first, let's just send one into the fold, so you can see what happens here. It's pretty loud. If I turn the fold all the way up, now I've got all the way down, so let's just add the CV to it. You can dial that into taste, so that's pretty cool. And then I've also got it in sub mode, so this crossfader, if you turn it all the way into the sub mode, not a whole lot going on, but I think that is actually pretty cool when you bring it all the way to the fold side and send a negative voltage into the crossfader. Because now we're getting some like ping-ponging between there. And then when you add the fold CV in, it's almost kind of sidechain compression-y. And then I've got another envelope going into the in 1 and 2 crossfader. So this controls between the press and fold side. So you can hear it. That's ping-ponging back and forth. So let's put all of what we have going on so far into it. And then this becomes more pronounced when we turn on the drives, the resonant drive circuit here. And then I've got CV going into all of the resonant drive and press CV inputs. So let's just take all the CV that we've talked about out so far. Go over to the press side. Now let's bring some of this stuff in. Again, you can dial that into taste. And then if we add our CD in all together, so yeah, great for glitchy drums. While we're on the topic of glitchy drums, I think it's really fun to just get the Dirty Laundry making some noise with no inputs at all, and then using a couple of the CV ins. So we can do some cool stuff with the resonance. I'm actually using a gate sequencer, so this is pretty similar to the last patch, in that we're just feeding a bunch of envelopes at gate sequence, and then feeding the envelopes into the CV ins. And then the output VCA is the most important for making percussive stuff out of the noise. And there you have it, glitchy drums. And it's pretty fun to just, if you have a noise source, to add the noise source into the input. Okay, let's take a listen to how the Dirty Laundry handles more melodic stuff. I'm going to use both the press and the fold output. I'm going to just use the same input from the knit, however, so the output from the press side is normaled into the fold. So we're going to get a little bit of both, but here's mostly the fold side here on the right. I added some reverb. I'll take the reverb off for now. And then the press side, the resonant drive circuit is on. So I'm using most of the CV ends with various envelopes and LFOs. But again, I think this sounds really good with some reverb. Again, with no reverb, so you can just make sure you're hearing just the Dirty Laundry. As you can see, the Dirty Laundry is quite versatile. The sky's the limit as far as I'm concerned. If you would like to learn more, you can visit afterlateraudio.com. Thank you so much for watching.